Chaitanya-Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rūpa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rūpam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome back to our Friday and Saturday series on Rūpa Śikṣā, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Rūpa Goswami. Just give me a second. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So there was some slight disturbance. So up till now, we have been discussing a very important theme in the Rūpa Śikṣā. That was, firstly, we took up this theme, not possible to fully describe the ocean of devotional service. It is an ocean. And Mahaprabhu said, Tomake chakaite ek bindu. I will just give you a drop. And then we took up this theme, very rare to find a pure devotee of the Lord. So in this context, there was a classification of the conditioned souls who are in this material world was discussed, the Nitya Baddhas. And in that classification, we saw that there are 84 lakh varieties of species in which this soul wanders. And some are Stavar, some are Jangam. And within the Jangam, there is Tiryak, Jal, Stalachar. And within the Stalachar, there is Alpa Manushya Jati. Very few species are in the human form of life. And among those human species, most of them are Mlecha, Yavanas, Bauddha, and Shavar. They are uncivilized. Among the civilized, there are those who follow Dharma, but Ardha Mukamani. They only give lip service to the Vedas. They don't actually follow the rules given in the Vedas. And those who are followers of the Vedas, there are Dharmachari. Those who actually follow the rules of the Vedas, the Dharmacharis. The Dharmacharis, they are all Karmanishta. They are all Karmanishta. we had summarized this, dharmacharis. They are all karmanishta. And koti karmanishta, ek jnani shresht. So among such crores and crores of karmanishta, hardly you'll find one who is a jnani. And koti jnani madhe ek jnana mukta. And crores of such jnanis who are taken up to the path of jnana and they have given up karma, you will find one who is liberated by the process of jnana. Koti jnana mukta durlabha eka Krishna bhakta. And among those millions of those who by the process of jnana have got liberated, you will find rarely one who is a Krishna bhakta. Now my question to you all is, in the last class we had this discussion, who is this Krishna bhakta? He is a Krishna bhakta. So what is this Krishna bhakta referring to? Who is this Krishna bhakta? Because it is mentioned among those who are millions of those who are liberated, there is rare to find one, Krishna bhakta. So whom is this Krishna bhakta referring to? Anyone would like to answer can raise their hands. Whom is this Krishna bhakta referring to? We have discussed this in the last class and some of you have answered it. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Nandanpranam. Prabhuji, here Krishna Bhakta, we are referring to pure devotee who is a Bhava at Brahma level.
Yes, here Krishna Bhakta refers to a pure devotee of the Lord. And this pure devotee refers to somebody who is on the Bhava or the Prema stage. At least Bhava stage. Because only at the stage of Bhava one is liberated and one realizes his Swarupa. What is his Swarupa in the spiritual world? And what is his Rasa with the Lord? Whether it is Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras or Madhurya Ras. The Rasa is revealed and the Swarupa is revealed at the stage of Bhava. So this Krishna Bhakta is not a new Bhakta who has joined Krishna consciousness and practicing Bhakti. Krishna Bhakta here refers to the pure devotee of the Lord. And Prabhupada also made it very, very clear in his commentary in the translation and the purport. So this refers to a very exalted devotee. And such a Krishna Bhakta, only at the stage of Bhava, one is free from all material desires. And that is why Krishna Bhakta Nishkam. Nishkam means no desires, except the desire to please the Lord. So there Krishna Bhakta Nishkam refers to again that pure devotee who is completely free from Bhuktikami, Siddhikami and Muktikami. So that's why one of the symptoms of Bhava Bhakti is Moksha Laguta Krit. That it makes liberation also insignificant. A Bhava Bhakta doesn't care for liberation at all. So this is definitely referring to a Bhava Bhakta. So Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ata Eva Shant. So we saw this. And there was one reference to prove this. Muktanam api siddhanam Narayana Parayana Sudurlabha Prashantatma Kotishvapi Mahamune. So this kind of a pure devotee, he is Prashantatma. He is superior to the Muktanam, those who are liberated, the Siddhanams, those who practice Ashtanga Yoga and they are liberated. Among them also there is very, very rare somebody who is 100% surrendered to Narayan. Very, very rare, Sudurlabha. Kotishvu, crores on crores of such Muktanam, Siddhanams. Very rare to find a Narayan Parayan. So we discussed also in the last class, if you remember, this kind of elevated platform for sadhakas is inconceivable. It's very difficult to achieve this kind of platform. We only have the hope that such Narayan Parayan souls, such great devotees, pure devotees, we have to take their shelter and follow their instructions, serve such Narayan Parayanas. That is the only hope for us. So that is what we had discussed. And now the next theme, the next topic, what is being discussed, Mahaprabhu has explained about this Krishna Bhakta who is a pure devotee of the Lord. Now, where does this pure devotional service begin from? It begins from the beginning stages when the seed of pure devotion is planted in the heart. From there it begins. So now the progression of how devotional service begins and how we can achieve this position of Krishna Bhakta has been discussed in the next set of verses, that is text 151 to 165. So let us now begin with this theme and discussion. Yeah. So up till now we have discussed this theme, first theme, not fully able to describe, not possible to describe fully the ocean of devotional service, and very rare to find a pure devotee of the Lord. That is Krishna Bhakta. Now, where it all begins? It all begins how one will come to the platform of pure devotion, this pure devotee, when he gets the seed of devotion. And by cultivating that seed, ultimately he'll become a pure devotee. So now that progression is the next theme which we are going to discuss now. So the topic was very systematically presented in the Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta. After describing this, then there is symptoms of pure devotional service. Oh, you have become a pure devotee, then what are your symptoms? Do you have those symptoms? So that will be discussed as the next theme. So now Mahaprabhu starts describing how pure devotion begins with the Bhakti Lata Bij. Brahmande Brahmite kono bhagyavan jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. According to their karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the entire universe. Brahmande Brahmite. Some of them are being elevated to the upper planetary systems, some are going down to the lower planetary systems. So Prabhupada in his translation itself is giving the explanation. Brahmande Brahmite means one is going up, one is going down. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate, kono bhagyavan jeev, gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna, Guru Krishna Prasade. By the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. So now, how one can come to this stage of pure devotee, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam, where it all begins? When we have been wandering in this universe and we don't have any fortune. But fortunately, if we come in touch with pure devotees, those pure devotees show compassion on us and plant the Bhakti Lata's Bij in our heart. There, the devotion begins. So now, let us see Prabhupada's purport. When we speak of Brahmanda, we refer to the whole universe or to the cluster of many millions of universes. So what is the meaning of Brahmanda Brahmite? Brahmanda Brahmite means right now we are in this Brahmand, which is headed by the four-headed Brahma. So within this Brahmanda, we are wandering according to our karma in various 84 lakh species. Sometimes in the heavenly planets, we have a Devata body. Sometimes in the hellish planet, we have an Asuric body. Sometimes in the higher planets, we have Rishi's body. Or sometimes in the lower species, we have bodies. So like that, within this universe, we are wandering in the 84 lakh varieties of species of life. And when Mahavishnu inhales, all the universes go back within the body of Mahavishnu. And then when he exhales, then all the universes are manifested. So we that time might go into some other Brahmanda, some other universe based on the karma. So in that universe now, again, you will be wandering in different species of lives. So within this Brahmanda, we are wandering, and we have been wandering from one Brahmanda to another Brahmanda. So that is what it means, Brahmande Brahmite. And we are wandering in all these different universes for one reason: in search of happiness, true happiness, in search of this true happiness. There are millions and trillions of living entities everywhere, and they are engaged by Maya in suffering and enjoying the results of their futile activity life after life. This is the position of the material conditioned living entities. Out of many of these living entities, one who is actually fortunate, Bhagyavan, comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master by Krishna's mercy. So how exactly it happens? We have been searching, we have been wandering in search of happiness. Why do people go to, hill stations, or they go to some nice places like Ooty or Kodaikanal or some Himalayas to experience happiness in these places? So like that, we have been searching. And then when we come to a point, oh, nothing of this world is giving me happiness, I am looking for true happiness. So this kind of an inquiry, we are all looking for Krishna. Everyone doesn't know about it. We are all looking for Krishna, because Krishna, only by being with Krishna, we can achieve true happiness. So like that, when one is wandering like this and looking for Krishna, Krishna as the Paramatma sees. And to such a wandering living entity, Krishna directs him to a spiritual master. So Krishna directs that jiva to a spiritual master. Now we see this example in Parikshit Maharaj's life. Parikshit Maharaj was cursed that within 7 days he would be leaving, he would die. And he decided to fast on the bank of Ganges for 7 days. And there all the sages and rishis arrived. And by divine arrangement, Sukdev Goswami also arrived there. So it is mentioned in the purports that that was Krishna's arrangement. So Krishna, when he wants to give mercy to that conditioned soul who is looking for him, he sends a spiritual master. Krishna is situated in everyone's heart. If one desires something, Krishna fulfills one's desire. So when we start looking for Krishna, then Krishna understands, he'll fulfill our desire by sending a spiritual master. If the living entity by chance or fortune comes in contact with the Krishna conscious moment and wishes to associate with that moment, Krishna, who is situated in everyone's heart, gives him the chance to meet a bona fide spiritual master. So here Prabhupada, although he has used the word by chance or by fortune, so what this chance or fortune is a different topic, which we will not discuss today. It is called as Yadrichaya. Yadrichaya means that somehow when we are looking for Krishna, then by providence, Krishna will give us the association of the devotees. This is called Guru Krishna Prasad. Krishna is prepared to bestow his mercy upon all living entities. As soon as the living entity desires the Lord's mercy, the Lord immediately gives him an opportunity to meet a bona fide spiritual master. Such a fortunate person is fortified by both Krishna and the spiritual master. So both by the mercy of Krishna and the spiritual master, oh, I've been looking in my heart. Why am I suffering here? The Sanatana Śikṣā gives a background. Ki ami, ki tapatray, who am I? Why am I suffering in this world? So this type of jigyasa, when it comes, and when we are looking for Krishna, then Krishna sends a spiritual master. He is helped from within by Krishna and from without by the spiritual master. So the spiritual master is the external manifestation of the Paramatma, and the internal manifestation of the Paramatma is the Chaitya Guru. Now, the Paramatma in the heart, broadly, it can function in three ways. One is the Paramatma who is neutral. Upadrashtacha, Anumantacha, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara, Paramatmiti Chapyukta, Dehespin, Purusha, Para. So for the ordinary people, the karmis or the materialist people, the Paramatma is neutral. Based on the karma, if he has to get happiness, the Paramatma will see whether in his karma it has written happiness. So he will give that fruits. And in his karma there is suffering. So he will give the fruits of his reactions of what actions he has done. So here the Paramatma acts neutral. But one starts inquiring about Krishna, one is Jigyasu, then that same Paramatma will act as Chaitya Guru from within. He will direct and he will tell, maybe you go this side. And here there is a temple. And that is like the Paramatma directing from us from within. That is, Paramatma now takes the role of a Chaitya Guru. And in a higher stage, the Paramatma helps us to relish rasa. At the highest stages of devotion, we can relish directly the rasa with the Lord in the heart. The loving reciprocations of Sakya, Dasya, Vatsalya, Madhurya rasas, we can experience in the heart. Then the Paramatma role is that of reciprocation in the form of rasa. So the Paramatma has these three different roles. For the materialist, he is neutral. For those who are searching for him, he acts like a Chaitya Guru. And then at the highest level, the Paramatma helps us to relish rasa. How one can become this fortunate can be seen in the life of Srila Narad Muni. So the whole Narada Vyas Samvad is a classic example of how Narad Muni in his previous life was a son of a maid servant. And some of the Bhakti Vedantas during the Chaturmas month had come there. And Narad Muni's mother, the son of maid servant, she served the sadhus, and Narad Muni also somehow associated with the sadhus, and the sadhus bestowed their boundless ahetuki compassion on the son, and that's how Narad Muni developed attraction for Krishna. In his previous life, he was born of a maid servant. Although he was not born into a prestigious position, his mother was fortunately engaged in rendering service to some Vaishnavas. So somehow in the Vedic culture, in the traditional culture, sadhus means, it's a culture that we serve. So not knowing that by this serving the sadhus, what benefit you are going to get. The sadhus, out of their boundless compassion, will give us the seed of devotion. When these Vaishnavas were resting during the Chaturmas period, the boy Narad took the opportunity to engage in their service. By serving these Vaishnavas and obeying their orders, the boy became the object of their sympathy, compassion, and by the Vaishnavas' unknown mercy. So Prabhupada's point is very important here. Unknown mercy. Ahetuki kripa it is. So Narad did not know that what kind of mercy they are going to show. He did not know. That was Agyata Sukriti. He got Agyata Sukriti. He gradually became a pure deity. So gradually he became a pure devotee. In the next life, he was Narad Muni, the most exalted of Vaishnavas and the most important Guru and Acharya of Vaishnavas. Following in the footsteps of Narad Muni, this Krishna conscious movement is rendering service to humanity by giving everyone a chance to come in contact with Krishna. Now, Prabhupada is saying something very, very deep here. He's saying that what opportunity Narad Muni got, the same opportunity the Krishna conscious movement, Prabhupada's society ISKCON is giving. That somehow they are giving, the sadhus in ISKCON are giving opportunity to serve the other people, to serve them, so that they get that Agyat Sukriti. The sadhus will show mercy and they will get the Bhakti Lata Bij, and then slowly they will take up to devotion. If one is fortunate, he becomes intimately related with this movement. Then by the grace of Krishna, one's life becomes successful. And the success story is the story of Narad Muni. Everyone can have hope, and everyone should repeatedly read this Narad Vyas Samvad. How Narad Muni in his previous life was just an ordinary son of a maid servant, and he became such an exalted pure devotee. So repeatedly we should read these narrations, because that is the only hope for us. And all these stages of devotion, beginning from the Bhakti Lata Bij, Shraddha, till the Prema stages, are discussed in that section. So it is important that we repeatedly read the Narad Vyas Samvad pastime, especially how Narad Muni became a pure devotee of the Lord. So whenever we are little down in devotion, we should read this, and we will become enthusiastic after reading this. Everyone has dormant Krishna Bhakti, love for Krishna, and in the association of good devotees, that love is revealed. And Prabhupada quotes this, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem, Sadhya Ka Bonai, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte, Karayodaya. So Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem, the soul's innate tendency is to love. That is the natural tendency of the soul. Now in this world, we are loving so many other objects, but the innate tendency is to love the Lord. And by Shravanadi, by the process of Shravan Kirtan, when the Chitta becomes pure, then this pure Krishna consciousness will manifest. Karaya Udaya. Dormant devotional service to Krishna is within everyone. Simply by one's associating with devotees, hearing their good instructions and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, dormant love for Krishna is awakened. In this way, one acquires the seed of devotional service. Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. Now, this is a topic which is not there in the Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta, but I felt it is important, and I'm just mentioning these stages of faith. It is part of the discussion, Bhakti Lata Bij. Now, just like a farmer cultivates the land, first he tills the land, and then he sows the seed. And after sowing the seed, then he waters the seed, and then it slowly sprouts up, and then it forms a big tree, and then it gives fruits. So similarly, our heart is the field where this spiritual seed, Bhakti Lata Bij, is sown. So the heart has to be fertile. To some degree, somebody who is Sukritina, because Krishna in the Gita uses that word, Chaturvijha Bhajante Mam, Jana Sukritino Arjuna, Artho Jigyasu Artharti, Jnani Cha Bhartarshaba. These are the four kinds of people who come to me. They are Sukritina, they have done pious activities, and whenever they are distressed, they somehow come to the Lord. So the field, the heart, that's why the whole Varnashram Dharma is to lead a pious life. And when you lead a pious life, at that time, it becomes a proper field where you have respect for the sadhus, and the sadhus, when you hear them, then by their mercy and Krishna's mercy, the seed of devotion is implanted in the heart. So, first thing is Agyata Sukriti, service rendered unknowingly to Krishna and the Vaishnavas. Sukriti means these are Sukriti in relation to devotional service, devotional acts done unknowingly. Devotees know now that if you serve sadhus, you will get their mercy so that we can advance in devotional service. But before coming to devotional service, you unknowingly serve sadhus. A sadhu is traveling across the village and you feed him prasad or you give him shelter. So these acts which are done, they are called as Agyata Sukriti, service rendered unknowingly to Krishna and Vaishnavas. So this Agyat Sukriti, over many, many lifetimes, this accumulation of Agyat Sukriti over many, many lifetimes, what happens? It matures into faith, Shraddha. We now develop faith in the sadhus and we hear the sadhus. And by hearing the sadhus, I'll just finish this and then we'll take up the questions. By hearing the sadhus, in their association, we also develop the desire to perform devotional service. That is called as Bhajaneshu Spruha. And I will come to what exactly is this Bhajaneshu Spruha. These are all the stages of faith which we are going through. Further, as we do our bhajan, and when our bhajan becomes very mature, in the stages of bhakti, there is Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anarth Nivriti, Nishta. So Nishta is the stage where our bhajan is very, very strong, very determined you are doing our bhajan. That time our faith is what? Faith in the Shastra, faith in the Guru, faith in the process of devotion is very, very firm. So sometimes Nishta is called as firm faith. So our faith in sadhus, faith in Shastras, in the beginning of devotional service is very feeble. That is why it is mentioned in Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta as Komala Shraddha. It is mentioned as Komala Shraddha. But as we perform our bhajan and our Shraddha becomes very firm, Dhrida Shraddha, then it is the stage of Nishta. So it is said that in the initial stages of when one is a Kanishta Adhikari, our Shraddha is like a banyan tree. Banana tree. You can easily shake it. But at the stage of Nishta, it is like a banyan tree. You cannot shake one from devotional service. He has so much deep faith in Shastras and Guru and Krishna. And at the highest stage of Prema, Shraddha is, there is an interesting meaning of Shraddha there. Shra means the heart and Da means to give. That one has completely given his heart to Krishna out of pure love. So these are the different stages of faith. So it all begins with the accumulation of Agyat Sukriti by unknowingly serving the sadhus. And by doing such service, the sadhus bestow their mercy and the heart is now fertile to plant or sow the seed of Bhaktilata Bij. And with this sowing of the Bhaktilata Bij, what happens? Then the sadhus, you have faith in the sadhus, you hear the sadhus will tell us to worship Krishna, do bhajan of Krishna, and you start performing bhajan of Krishna. And then these other stages, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anarth Nivriti, Nishta, all these stages come into picture. Now, another important point which devotees don't sometimes understand, that is what I would like to clarify now. Now, in the stages of Agyat Sukriti, we don't recognize who are sadhus. Any sadhu comes, we serve them, and we are getting some Sukriti. But Ado is a stage also. Ado Shraddha Sadhu Sangha. Ado is a stage where we have a little bit faith in hearing about Krishna. And in that stage also there is Sadhu Sangha happening. In that stage also there is Sadhu Sangha happening. But at the higher stages, when one wants to go deeper into Krishna consciousness, one wants to study the Shastras nicely, then also he will look for particular sadhus who can give and explaining the deeper meaning of the scriptures. So that is called as also Sadhu Sangha. And in the higher stages after Nishtha, one practices Raganuga Bhakti. So at the stage of Raganuga Bhakti, he also has to look for sadhus who are Rasika Bhaktas who can guide him in the path of Raganuga Bhakti. So the Sadhu Sangha also at different stages in our development of faith, different levels of sadhus we need to associate. So that is the point. Now, Bij refers to desire. Okay, I will come to this point a little after the question answers. Up till now, anyone has any questions? Up till now. Birendra Yadav Prabhu, you had a question?
Hare Krishna, Guruji, Dandapranam. Guruji, this Agyat Sukriti and Bhagyavan, is this two are related with each other? I mean, Agyat Sukriti, is it base for Bhagyavan becoming Bhagavan?
Yeah, Agyat Sukriti, as I was mentioning, that it is unknowingly done. Unknowingly acts of devotion which are performed. You are going by the road and then you see a sadhu and you help that sadhu to cross the road. That is sadhu seva I have done. And because of that sadhu seva, there is some sukriti you accumulate in your spiritual credit account. This is bhakti sukriti. And slowly, you did not know that, just by, doing this act, I have attained some sukriti. You have attained some agyat sukriti. So like that, you might come across some sadhus and you might do this kind of activities. So in the case of Narad Muni, the Bhaktivedanta was staying there. And because his mother was serving the sadhus, the child also served the sadhus. And he accumulated a lot of agyat sukriti. And that agyat sukriti churned into good fortune in the form of the Bhakti Lata Bij being planted. So the fortune here is not something by chance. It is the accumulation of agyat sukriti. It is the accumulation of agyat sukriti over a period of time. When, we all know, like those who make investments in bank or whatever it is, you every time deposit a certain amount of money over a period of time, and when it matures, you get a huge amount as whatever you have invested over a period of time. So similarly, this agyat sukriti, which is done over a period of lifetimes, it depends. Usually it is mentioned that it is accumulated over a period of lifetimes. That turns on our fortune, Bhagyavan Jeev, Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. Then we attain the Bhakti Lata Bij. So that is how the connection is. Any other questions? I've been discussing the stages of faith, but in that there is one important discussion which we are going to go now, which is Bhakti Lata Bij. Bij means desire. Desire to perform bhajan. Bhajaneshu Spurha. Now, Bhakti Lata Bij, the desire to perform bhajan. Bhava Pargo Brahmato Yada Bhavej Janasya Tarhi Achut Sat Sammagama Satsangamo Yari Tadaiva Sadgato Paravareshe Tvai Jayate Mati. Now, what exactly is this Bhakti Lata Bij? To discuss that, we are discussing this verse of the Bhagavatam. O Achyuta, the Jiva has been wandering in the cycle of birth and death, as it was also mentioned, Brahmande Pramita, since time immemorial. Bhava Pargo Brahmato. When the moment of his release from the cycle approaches, he obtains the association of saintly persons. From then onward, he fixes his intelligence on your lotus feet with great determination and becomes firmly attached to you, understanding you to be the only shelter, the supreme goal for saintly persons, and the origin of all creation, both material and spiritual. So, Bhavo Pavargo Brahmato Yada Bhavej. Wandering like this in the universe, what happens? Interesting it is, when the moment of his release from the cycle of approaches, he obtains the association of saintly persons. So, if you see, actually what happens when we get released from the cycle of birth and death, first we attain the association of devotees and then practice devotion, and when we perfect devotion, then we become free from the cycle of birth and death. But here first the result has been mentioned. The result has been mentioned to explain the glory of association with saintly persons. Just by coming in touch with a saintly person is as good as your release from the cycle of birth and death. So this in Sanskrit, in Kavya Shastras, there are different types of terms used to indicate certain things. So here first, the release from the cycle of birth and death is discussed. When his time for releasing from this material world comes, then he attains the association of devotees mentioned. So sometimes we have heard many times, that if we just pull the cart of Jagannath, then we get liberated. So many times devotees have a misconception. They think, oh, just by pulling the cart of Jagannath, we become liberated. So what it means is that the doors of liberation are closed for us completely because we are wandering in this universe according to our karma. And by pulling the cart of Jagannath, we have done acts of devotion. By that acts of devotion, what has happened? Now the doors of liberation have opened. Now we have to walk in that path and ultimately cross that door and go to the spiritual world. So similarly, the glory of association of devotees is, indirectly hinted that, by that you will be released from the cycle of birth and death. And from then onward, that is the association of saintly devotees, the intelligence is fixed on your lotus feet with great determination and becomes firmly attached to you, understanding you to be the only shelter. So this verse is a very interesting verse to understand the Bhakti Lata Bij. There are some points. Sriman Mahaprabhu has mentioned this seed as the wine of devotion. But what exactly is it? He has not described it explicitly. That is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:51-53. So, Mahaprabhu in this verse, Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyavanji, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij, he has just described the seed. But what exactly is the seed? Mahaprabhu has not described. This verse of Bhagavatam has described it. What is that seed? Srila Jeev Goswami has written, Sat Sangamena Rati Anku Rupeva Matir Jayate Iti. Here the verse it was mentioned, Paravareshe Tvayi jayate mati. So what exactly is that seed? Jiva Goswami says, in saintly company, an intellect awakens that is likened to a sprout of rati. The intellect awakens that I should also perform bhajan. I should also perform bhajan. By the causeless mercy of exalted devotees, an intelligence is awakened in the heart of the sadhaka that gives rise to Krishna Seva Vasana, a desire to perform Bhagavat Bhajan, service to Sri Krishna. So this is intellect, the intellect, oh, let me do sadhu seva, let me do Krishna seva. So this kind of desire, that very desire is the bij, Bhakti Lata bij, Krishna seva vasana. And that is why, if you see here, I have mentioned bhajaneshu spruha, desire to perform bhajan. This desire is called as the seed of the wish-fulfilling wine of devotion. In other words, the inclination to serve Bhagwan is the seed of this wine. When this seed has been watered in the field of the sadhaka senses through the process of Shravan Kirtan, the devotional creeper sprouts. So when this seed, bija, sprouts in the intellect, in the association of devotees, there is a desire which comes that let me also do bhajan, then that desire is actually the planting, the actual physical planting of the Bhakti Lata bij. And now what happens? Then there is performance of bhajan, Krishna bhajan or Krishna seva. So once I was going from Vrindavan to Govardhan in auto rickshaw with few devotees, and there were other public also in the rickshaw. There was some Brajbasi, and we were going for Govardhan Parikrama. And this Brajbasi, although he was born in Braj and he's a very great soul, but he was smoking and it was causing some disturbance. But just because he was sitting with the devotees in the rickshaw, suddenly he threw his cigarette and he turned to the devotees and he said that I also have a desire to perform bhajan. He was addicted to his bad habit, but just because he was in the association of devotees, he immediately gave up that, for that moment at least. I don't know what happened later on. And he expressed his desire that I also want to perform bhajan. So this is exactly that Krishna Seva Vasana, or the desire to perform bhajan or service to Krishna. This is called as bhajaneshu spruha, and this is what exactly is Bhakti Lata bij. So how one becomes a devotee? Service rendered unknowingly to Krishna and the Vaishnavas. Accumulation of devotional piety. This is devotional piety. It is called as Sukruti. Sukruti. And specifically it is referred to Bhakti Unmukh Sukruti. Bhakti Unmukh Sukruti. That means Sukruti born out of devotion, devotional acts. So if you associate with materialist persons, and in that association, what will happen? They have materialistic desires to enjoy. So there will be karma vasanas, bhautik sukruti, the desire for enjoying material world, those kind of dushkritana activities will perform. So if somebody is a karmi here I mean who is performing varnashram dharma, he is doing those acts. So he will accumulate karma unmukh sukruti. And somebody who is on the jnana platform, he has performed the path of jnana yoga, and he is accumulating jnana unmukh sukruti. He is accumulating what? Jnana unmukh sukruti. The sukruti which is accumulated by performing the angas of jnana. And because of that kind of sukruti, he will meet a sadhu who is from the jnana path. And somebody who is on the Ashtanga path, he is accumulating those kind of sukritis. He is practicing austerity and tapasya. So he will meet that kind of sadhus. So based on the kind of bijas, sukriti you have accumulated, you will meet that kind of sadhus. So there is accumulation of bhakti unmukh sukriti. And then Krishna's mercy is there. By Krishna's mercy, you meet a bona fide spiritual master. And by meeting a bona fide spiritual master, the seed of creeper of devotional service is planted in the heart. And this seed, now many devotees don't understand the progression. You have now faith, a little faith you have. You have a little faith and you come and hear Bhagavad Gita class. So this faith is the beginning stages of faith. And you are hearing Bhagavad Gita. Hearing Bhagavad Gita, you are having now little faith in Gita, faith in the sadhus, and you hear over a period of time, maybe the 7-day DYS course or the Bhagavad Gita course, you are getting education. And with that, we know many times, 30, 40, 50 people come and hear Bhagavad Gita, and out of that only 5, 6 take to actual practice of devotional service. Many don't take up to the practice of devotional service because still their sukriti is not accumulated a lot. Still their shraddha is not solidified. So with this hearing of Bhagavad Gita education, the shraddha comes to the stage of bhajaneshu spruha, where you start serving the devotees and start associating with sadhus to more understand about devotion and practice devotion. That bhajaneshu spruha is the seed of devotion which is planted, which is nourished by the hearing and chanting. So these are all the other sub stages which are happening in between, which is not discussed in the Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta, but I'm just giving a hint. So that is how slowly, when we come to this stage, bhajaneshu shuha, somebody might hear from sadhus, but hearing also, he might not take up to devotion, because still that bhakti lata bij, that vasana to do Krishna bhajan or Krishna seva has not fructified. So I met many years back one old elderly man, and he told me, he was around in his 70s or 80s, and he told that I had darshan of your Prabhupada when I was just 13 or 14 years old man. Prabhupada had come to Hyderabad and I was fortunate to have his darshan. And he was speaking the truth. So somehow, although he had the sadhu association, still that sukriti has not accumulated and it has not come to the stage of faith where he is hearing from the sadhus, and that faith has still not solidified in the form of bhakti lata bij, where there is desire to perform bhajan. So these are the different stages which we go through in our devotional life also. Then devotional service, seva begins, which is practicing the angas of bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma, Nivedanam. So what Prabhupada has mentioned in the purport, everything is summarized here. Mercy of Guru and Krishna. Guru Prasad. What is Guru Prasad? Guru is the giver of the seed of devotional service. He is empowered by the Lord to distribute the Lord's compassion. So when the sadhu glances at us, that let him also become a devotee. That is sadhu kripa. When Jagai and Madai, two drunkards, were fighting with each other, and Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur saw them, and they asked the public, who are these? And they described their notorious activities. Nityanand Prabhu just glanced at Jagai and Madai. And just by the glance of Nityanand Prabhu, what happened? They got the sadhu mercy. And that is why they became devotees. So the sadhu, when he glances at someone, then That is the mercy, prasad. That is prasad. He blesses the disciple by awarding the best possible gift, that is devotional service to Krishna. Krishna Prasad. What is Krishna Prasad? Krishna mercifully sends a bona fide guru to a deserving disciple. By the mercy of Krishna, one meets a guru, and by the mercy of guru, one is fully trained in devotional service. Seed of devotional service. What is the seed? Bhakti Lata Bij, we have quite elaborately discussed, but here some more additional points. Everything has one original cause or seed. Everything is in the form of a bij. Every thought, there is an idea which comes. Oh, we should do this. Any idea, any thought is like a seed. Bhakti Lata Bij is that seed by which the creeper in the form of devotional service is produced. It is the origin of devotional service. I told you that bhajaneshu spruha, the desire to perform bhajan, the vasana of the desire to perform, let me also perform bhajan, in the intellect when it awakens. So that is Bhakti Lata Bij. This seed comes by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. This seed is constituted of the methods, rules, and regulations by which one is trained in devotional service. So what is this seed constituted, Bhakti Lata Bij? So when you have that desire to perform bhajan, then you will find out from the sadhus that how I should perform Krishna bhajan, how I should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, how I should follow the regulative principles. And that knowledge of rules and regulations and methods of devotional service is what the seed is constituted. This seed is different from Anya Bilasha Bij, seeds of karma and jnana. I in fact mentioned karmun muksukriti, jnanun muksukriti. So this is a spiritual seed. The Bhakti Lata Bij is a spiritual seed, whereas these are other seeds. This is different from the other seeds. Who is eligible to receive Krishna Bhakti Lata Bij? One who is faithful and pleases Guru and Krishna receives the Bhakti Lata Bij via initiation. One who is not faithful and displeases Guru and Krishna receives Anya Bilasha Bij, that is seeds such as karma, gyan, philanthropy, etc. Now, here is a very important point to be noted, that this Bhakti Lata Bij, it has a different progression, one after another. Now, we accumulate Agyat Sukriti and we develop faith in sadhus and hear from sadhus. So, that is also Bhakti Lata Bij. And from the sadhu's instruction, now we have a desire to perform bhajan. And we perform bhajan, we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we follow the regulative principles, and we see our life is getting purified. We have given up our bad habits. So it doesn't mean that, the Bhakti Lata Bij is not there. It is there. It is growing because we are hearing and chanting. So the Bhakti Lata Bij is being cultivated. But this Bhakti Lata Bij gets solidified. It becomes more solidified when one takes initiation. I give the example of a gardener who, what he does is, he initially puts the seed and keeps the sapling in a small container. We know that, how gardeners cultivate the saplings. In fact, rice also first, it is separately cultivated at a particular place. And then it is taken out from there and it is actually sown in the field. So similarly, at the time of initiation, that already Bhakti Lata Bij is there because you have already, with faith, you are practicing devotional service. It gets more solidified by the process of initiation. And further, at the stage of Nishtha, it becomes still solid, rock solid, like a banyan tree. So that's how there is cultivation. Now, another point with respect to Anya Bilasha Bij, that if during our practice of devotional service, we displease Guru and Krishna, what happens? we will lose our Bhakti Lata Bij, and other Bijas, other seeds like Dharma, Gyan or philanthropic Bees are planted in the heart. We will leave the devotion service and we will go back to material life and we will take up these other seeds. So this we see in the life of Ramchandra Puri. Ramchandra Puri displeased his spiritual master Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri was just about to leave this world and he was feeling separation from Krishna and he was lamenting. It was spiritual lamentation. And Ramchandra Puri came there and saw his spiritual master in such a lamenting stage. And he said, why are you lamenting? Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti lavate param. So he quoted this verse. You should be in Brahma Bhuta, no sochati na kankshati. You should not lament. So Madhavendra Puri said, leave this place. First of all, my heart is troubled because of feeling for Krishna and you are instructing me about this Gyan. Get out from here. So he displeased his Guru. And because of that, he lost his Bhakti Lata Bij and got Karma and Jnana Bij, especially Jnana Bij. So when one displeases Guru and Krishna, one will get Anya Bilasha Bija. So that is the point. So we will stop here. Any questions, any clarifications? Time is up, but I will just take questions if anyone has. Others, if they don't have questions and they want to leave, they can leave. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanapana. Prabhuji, here, Anya Vilasa, is it referring to what we say Upsakha and those all things? Upsakha in devotional service.
Okay, that will come up later on in the Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta discussion. In the Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta discussion now, Bhakti Lata Bij, the creeper of devotion service, how it grows and gives us Krishna Prem fruit, will be first described. And after this fruit is got, Krishna Prem, while cultivating this Bhakti Lata Bij, what can happen? It can be completely uprooted because of Vaishnava Prad. So that will be one discussion Mahaprabhu is going to do. Secondly, while cultivating the Bhakti Lata Bij, there can be Upashakas which can come up. So that was another discussion which Mahaprabhu is going to describe. So when we will be discussing that time we will take up these topics. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions anyone has? Yes, Vasant Naik Prabhuji has a question. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandotpana. Prabhuji, my question is regarding the initiation. Nowadays, there is an online initiation, which is giving from the Guru Maharaj. So what is compared to online and direct physical giving the initiation? There is any difference or like?
So we have a very vague understanding and conception of initiation. Diksha means what? Divya Gyan. Diksha means what? Divya Gyan. When Srila Prabhupada first met his spiritual master, that was in 1922 at the Ulta Danga, his friend Narendra Malik took him there and Prabhupada met him. Prabhupada had faith in sadhus. He met him. And then there was a conversation which happened and Prabhupada was defeated. Prabhupada was pleased in his heart. And in his heart, he accepted Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur as his spiritual master and he started following instructions. So, in one sense, if we see, Diksha is in our heart when we accept the teachings and start practicing the teachings and in our own life, that is Diksha also, Divya Gyan. When we get transcendental knowledge and based on that transcendental knowledge, we practice devotional life. That is initiation. So Prabhupada did not get initiated for the next 11 years, 1933, till 1933. But Prabhupada was practicing spiritual life. So it doesn't mean, and later on in 1933, he got the first and second initiation. So that is why I was mentioning, if you remember, the different levels of, the Bhakti Lata Bij, what is happening. First is Agyat Sukruti, where we develop faith in sadhus, faith in hearing about Krishna. This faith is getting solidified on the sadhus, on the instructions, and we develop a desire to perform now bhajan. That vasana is there to perform bhajan. So that is also Bhakti Lata Bij. That is also a Bhakti Lata Bij. And now we start performing bhajan. We do bhajan kriya. And then what happens is our performance of bhajan becomes solidified, and our faith in sadhus, faith in scriptures is very, very strong. That is Nishtha. So what happens at initiation is, already there is Shraddha. There is the Bhakti Lata Bij. It is like I told you, a sapling which is being cultivated by a gardener, which is removed from that small pot, and it is planted in the field, in the big field. So our Shraddha is getting fully solidified with the process of initiation. So that is what happens at the time of initiation. Now, regarding the physical initiation and the online initiation, I cannot say much, but it is based on time, place, and circumstances. And sometimes during crisis, the acharyas can, based on their boundless compassion, decide. So, but we should understand what exactly is initiation. Initiation is at different levels. Diksha means not exactly, when you take the first initiation or the second initiation. Diksha means Divya Gyan. The moment you hear from the sadhus spiritual knowledge, and you develop faith in that knowledge and start following the instructions and develop the desire to perform initiation bhajan, that is also a kind of initiation. So that is the point we need to understand. Somebody might not be initiated even first and second, and it doesn't mean that he's not going to progress in Krishna consciousness. It doesn't mean like that. Especially with concept, with respect to the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And we see many devotees are there who are practicing spiritual life. They have not taken initiation yet, but by the chanting process, their life has got purified. They have given up bad habits. So does it mean that they still, because they have not taken Diksha, their spiritual life has not begun? The Bhakti Lata Bij is not there? It is there. It is growing. And it is being cultivated. So that's the point we need to understand. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or clarifications? Okay, one more question. Last question we will take up. Yes, Dr. Archana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandasprana.
Yes.
It's again related to initiation. Is it necessary to get initiated? And how one can know that this is the time to get initiated now?
Oh, this is a very elaborate topic, which we need to discuss, and I'll have to present some points to explain the whole understanding.
Okay.
But just to give you a hint, as I was mentioning, how a gardener grows a sapling, and if that sapling which is there in a small pot, it is not expected that that sapling will grow into a big tree in that small pot. He'll have to place it in the field, and then only it is going to grow and it is going to give the fruit. So similarly, although the Bhakti Lata Bij is there and we are cultivating devotion, at a certain stage or a point in our life, to strengthen our faith, to deeply connect ourselves to the Guru Shish Parampara, and to deeply connect to Krishna, to especially strengthen our faith, and get that firm conviction and determination to perform bhajan and to do sadhu seva, this connection of initiation process is necessary.
So it will happen automatically with God's grace, or I have to seek for it?
When we are ready, when there is a genuine, when the time comes, when we are ready for it, it will happen.
Okay.
We should also endeavor in our direction, and when the right time comes, it will happen. Just like when one naturally attains puberty, there is natural attraction for the opposite sex. So similarly, when there is natural maturity in our bhajan, and we really feel that now I should take shelter of a spiritual master, then with the process, we'll be deeply able to connect to a spiritual master whom we feel that this spiritual master's teachings I can follow and surrender my life, and I can follow, I have affinity or liking towards the spiritual master because the way he is presenting Krishna consciousness, I feel I am able to deeply more connect like that. Because all spiritual masters present Krishna consciousness from different angles. And, we might hear from many spiritual masters, but one spiritual master we feel that, I can follow his teachings and I feel a natural way where I can surrender my life to him. So then we should take initiation from that kind of a spiritual master. Prabhupada in 2.7 in the Bhagavad Gita, one lecture he says that there are many women out there, but a man develops affinity towards one woman and he marries her and makes his wife. Similarly, there are many spiritual masters, and you might hear from many, but one spiritual master's teaching, you feel that I am able to deeply connect to his teachings, and that is why now I feel that I can surrender to him, and that's how we should select the spiritual master and further advance in our Krishna consciousness, further deepen that faith in Krishna consciousness, and further try to make progress.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Rūpa Śikṣā ki jai. Shri Chaitanya